Two-time Hall of Fame inductees, Brent Godarzi and Marty Young. Back-to-back #1 trucking firm in the nation. Back-to-back best attorney and best law firm in East Texas.
Hello out there to the Army of Buckeyes. I'm Todd Robinson, your host of the Gilmer Buckeyes Coaching Show, here with the head coach and athletic director of the 0-0 Gilmer Buckeyes, Coach Alan Metzel. Coach, you talk about all the time, we have a method to the madness, and phase one, as you put it, with we call it the SEC West, you call it preseason, is now in the books, concluded. We had said really at the beginning of the season, we look at the schedule and we say, we trust you, but Lord, please help us be healthy and help us grow through that process, because you've proven it over the last 3, 4, 5 years, the idea behind our approach. Now we get to the end of phase one, and here we are 0-0, ready for district play. What do you think the status is of your football team right now?
Well, obviously, a lot of adversity, and the schedule creates adversity. We know that. That's exactly what you're addressing here. I think when you added in our injuries, which took out a lot of our experience, that heightened a lot of the adversity. And so at this point, what we had to kind of adjust to as we've slugged through this time, and some of it's been positive and some of it's been less than what we would hope for. What we have to look at it from the standpoint of, this was like another boot camp. And when you go through boot camp in the spring, you're going to be put in a position where you fail on purpose. And what you do is you find out where your strengths are, you find out what you've got to work on. All those things have taken place, and so as I was talking with the team in our team meeting moving into this phase 2 right now, adversity doesn't make you better. It doesn't. Adversity is just adversity, and it's hard. And so what it does is it presents the opportunity to recognize where you've got to get better, recognize what your issues are, and then work to get better. So just recognizing it doesn't fix it. It's the work that should come as a result of it.
As you said a million times, it's making the choice to say, we're going to purposefully improve.
Right.
And, laying bare yourself.
Making yourself vulnerable,
right.
It does. And, I think if we had, like I said, maybe some of the less injuries, some of the depth that took us, I think we could be 3-2 right now pretty easily. I think that's a fair assessment, or 2-3, somewhere in there, and people would be going, oh yeah, we're where we thought we were and so forth. Well, it didn't play out that way, which just made it tougher, which just turns the heat up more, which puts us in the position to step up and become the team that we need to be. And so I told them this morning, we've gotten off the mat now in the mat drills from boot camp, and now it's time to go seize this season, and come together the way we need to, and to provide that family thing that we have chosen as our motto. That's got to start to emerge at a much higher level.
Yeah, we've got us, and us is all we need.
That's right.
Well, from a looking at it from the outside in standpoint, you've had a lot of really milestone things in terms of guys stepping up, and I know we're going to see that in the highlight against Brennham. Brennham was a much, much better team. They were as advertised. Number 7 team, I think, in 5A.
Right.
And I know that they lost their, kind of star running back, Dixon, who's now, kind of in prep school down in the Houston area. But I thought that it kind of made the rest of those guys maybe kind of come together and pick up some slack and not really depend upon him.
I agree. I think you saw that.
Yeah.
And obviously they have a lot of good athletes, and they played well, and their coaches are doing a good job. So good luck to Brennham.
Yeah. And they were deep, and I thought that they kind of attacked us in a unique way that we can talk about a little bit as well. But first, let's kind of watch the film, because I thought we had a lot of really bright spots that popped.
We did.
And it's kind of hard depth-wise when I thought our ones and their ones, there wasn't much separation at all. But I think they had just a little bit of fall off to their 2s and 3s, and we were all of a sudden down to sophomores and guys that hadn't had experience at all. and that kind of showed up on some big plays. But I thought we had plenty of highlight films.
We did.
For
at
our
halftime,
guys.
it's 14-7. They scored right before half, which was disappointing. If we could have just held them out, I think that would have been a big deal. But we had moments. We had bursts. We didn't finish as far as like getting into the end zone or getting them off the field at the right time. And as a result, it moved on in and put us in a position where we didn't handle it as well in the second half. But there were signs. You're playing in an elite team, 2 divisions ahead, and we're right there with them for a good bit of the time. We've got to be able to step up into that next echelon where we're able to battle the whole way.
Well, it seems like you can show the kids this film and say, see?
Mm-hmm.
So you're right there.
Yes, no doubt. You're on the verge. We've just got to be able to put it together for 4 quarters. So here you've got, we've had some issues on the edge and with teams running outside. Right here you see us play the jet sweep really well. That's Trey Lee there. Was able to keep leverage on the position and end up getting a tackle for loss here against a really good athlete. So when we're executing our game plan, when people are fitting in their proper gaps, you're seeing big plays like this. The problem has been the consistency of that, and that's what we're working on.
Well, and in that specific case, that's the normal position that Trey plays.
Correct.
He hadn't played there this year, and there's a reason why he hasn't played there, because he's filling in with other spots trying to make us...
of people that have been injured.
Exactly.
Right. So that got him back in his home place. So here we've got circled Solomon Jackson.
Boy, did he step up.
He really did. He had probably his finest game from the standpoint of the scheme they were playing, the guy that was playing him, the pressure of having to make plays, and he really is shining right now.
It reminded me of the 2023 game against Kilgore that Brendan Webb had.
Yeah.
That was really the kind of emergence game where you kind of went, whoa, that guy.
He's on the scene.
If you remember, that was because we had an injury.
Right.
And it was one of these exact same situations where we were plugging in and throwing guys into the fire.
Right.
And, sometimes things galvanized and he emerged. And I thought Solly had probably one of the best, first quarters for sure, but first halves that maybe any Gilmer receiver has had since I've been watching it, and that's a long time.
He looked really good. And you're going to see him here. It's man on man. And so he makes a great move, sticks his foot, gets up inside. Zaid pops it right on him, takes the ball all the way down to the 10-yard line. Big play.
That's really good defense, too.
Absolutely. That's high-level defense.
That's collegiate. He's going to see that kind of level when he's playing on Saturdays.
Correct.
And I know that's hard to tell him on Saturday mornings watching the film, but that is not just a good defensive back. That guy's a Division I defensive back that he's playing. They're playing man-to-man because they think they can, and we kind of proved them wrong.
Right. That was a great job. Great timing by Zaid, getting the ball out of his hand, hitting the window before anybody from the inside got there. Great hands by Solly. Took it all the way down to the 10-yard line. Unfortunately, we weren't able to capitalize on that. And that's part of that. You make a play and then, and we've got to grow in our ability. Okay, so it didn't work out the way we wanted. We just go to the next play, and we're growing in that area. We are. Here you're going to see Tyler Hagler playing defensive tackle, and just watch the job he does on the guard right here. Just slings him out of the way and then gets his hands on the running back. Again, Trey Lee fights off his block, and we get a tackle for loss. So these are some of the things that we're starting to gain back. We were missing some of these guys in our defensive front. You're starting to see that reemerge, which is going to help all the other positions, whether it's linebackers or secondary.
You had 2 full games in the previous 5 where that guy, so Trey's playing his position normally. Now, Hag's playing his position normally. Right. And neither one of those guys, really the whole first 2 weeks of the season, could afford to play their best position, obviously, because again, that's a really good football team that's 2 divisions ahead of us that you see them dominating in their position. They just hadn't been there.
Correct. So, and they've got to work back into playing that position properly and at a high level and doing it consistently. And they're working on that, and then all the pieces that fit in around them as well. So moving from there, we're going to come back to the offensive side. Now this, I think it's somewhat comical in that that's the first snap under center in Gilmer since really 2010.
Yes.
Other than just taking a knee, and only when you're coming out of the end zone. So here we are, and of course we got in a huddle and came out of there, and this play works pretty well in the NFL right now.
Yes, it does.
And so you got these big linemen up here, and then you got Zaid right behind them, and he gets lost in there and pops right out and takes it 28 yards for a touchdown. Great job of continuing to get the push. He busts out of there and gets in the end zone. So that was definitely one they would not have on film.
That's true.
They did
not ever on film.
Yes.
And the fact that we actually have a quarterback who may be our most gifted running back.
He's a really talented
and that's
runner.
all of design as
Correct.
well.
Correct.
But here's something that's maybe a foreshadowing of wrinkle of things to come.
There'll
that
be
you see
wrinkles.
different things in different
Right.
areas, because to your point, we got guys that have certain gifts and strengths
Right.
that we.
You want to play to those.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that was a really positive play. Got us a little momentum going again. So here on, I want to make sure that we're highlighting some of these guys that are improving and coming on. Here's Drake Smith playing corner out here against a really long receiver with a lot of speed, and they try and run the go route on him, and he does an awesome job of just sitting right in his hip. He's in perfect trail position. He's reading his hands. He throws his hands. Drake runs his hands right through the receiver's hands, knocks the ball away, incomplete. And you've actually seen that for several weeks now.
Yeah.
He and Chris Pinckney, those guys are really coming on the outside on our defense.
Yeah, and fans need to understand, that's two divisions forward giving up 6 inches on a receiver, playing press man coverage, and they do what they should do and just basically say, hey, we should have the advantage here, run by them and let's have a go route. But if we can play man on the outside,
it leaves more of your guys in the box to help stop the run.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So these are not just critical pieces and plays that you see in a game. They actually, that development means huge in terms of what Tommy can do on the scheme side on the back end.
That's exactly right. Let's go back to the offense. Here is Tavian Horn. Tavian continues to emerge, our sophomore running back, and a great job here of finding the hole and getting to the second level. Great job getting under the defender, and he's a powerful runner. Now their corner did a great job. He's a speedy guy, came off and made the tackle, but Tavian just continues to show up and flash on film. I'm excited about his continued growth.
Oh yeah, I mean he's a sophomore.
Yeah,
and he started from day one, and really one of the sophomores in talking about stepping up that has to step up,
right?
Because he's the guy as a sophomore, and we've got unfortunately probably 7 or 8 positions where we say he's the guy and he's a sophomore,
right?
That really have kind of been through this fire and come out, number one, healthy. But you got to think confident because there's nothing else left on the season that he's going to see that he hadn't seen already.
Correct. Not athletically. Yeah. That is for sure, no doubt. So we make this, got that big run again, man coverage in the secondary. Solomon one-on-one with the safety out here. And so Zaid does a good job of getting the ball on him right here, turns, drives it in there. You can see he gets it on him before the backer is able to get to him. So excellent job of being able to defeat the man coverage, which, it has to make people a little bit nervous about lining up and playing man coverage.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. If I'm an opposing defensive coordinator and I watch Solomon's first 2, and not just that, but Zaid putting the ball on him, okay, this whole concept of let's dare him to throw probably goes out the window. And I think to a large degree when we talk about how Brennham played us in terms of they had a guy in every gap that were coming every play.
Right.
And that was just, we talked about it on the broadcast. 2 A gaps, 2 B gaps, 2 C gaps. There was somebody there coming every single play. Sometimes we handle it good. Sometimes we busted it like you see at Tavian. But when we can do that you just saw Solid do, to your point, consistently, it changes the strategy of the defensive coordinator that's trying to defend us, and that means other things open up.
That's exactly right. It makes them begin to be on their heels instead. And we've got to be more consistent in hitting some of these plays to get them to have to change, to get out of this live on the edge mentality. So here's, I've got circled here, this is Taj Bush. Taj missed really the whole season.
Right.
He got his feet wet a little bit the week before in the game prior as we played Lindale, but here he got some actual real reps against Brennham, and you're going to see the impact that he has now at defensive line, gets back in the backfield, and is able to run down the ball carrier and get a 5-yard loss in the backfield. You're going to start to see 42 emerge.
Yeah.
That injury hurt us early in the year, and that was part of the losing some of our depth and some of the pieces that we could move around. And I believe you're going to see him. We're going to have him on the show a number of times in plays that he creates in the backfield.
Yeah, no, I think if there is one thing we can point to 5 weeks that kind of throw everything off in terms of your plan coming into the season with that kind of schedule, not having Taj, and I think that was
one of the kingpin ones. Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah, and thank goodness, because we didn't know that was going to be the case either. That we're going to have him back for district and for the rest of the season.
Right.
And it allows us, as you've seen in previous highlights, to get other pieces in other places, and it's one of those keystone pieces that fits, that makes everything work.
Make it all work on that side, no doubt. Okay, let's move. Down here we're in. Brennham has scored. We always talk about coming off. This play is for points. It's for points. And in this game, it wasn't the difference in this game, but it may be the difference in another game that we're about to play. Yeah. And being able, we're coming through, getting to the ball on these in multiple games now. And so where you can come in and steal a point from an opponent with a blocked extra point or a field goal, as the case may be, and you're going to see us, Tyler Hagler and Jet Bates, they do a great job of creating pressure, getting into the backfield, blocking the extra point, those kind of things. That's going to pay off as we move forward.
Absolutely. Special teams always is inevitably going to play a critical role, but getting the guys to figure out in a situation that, hey, I want to give that effort on special teams.
Yes.
To your point, more than likely it will have an impact on the game because, as you said, it shows up on the scoreboard right now.
Yep. Yeah, those special teams, you're playing for points. That's a big deal. So here we are again. Tavian Horn is going to run a slip screen. We're able to get the ball out. They're rushing pretty hard. Zay does a great job of avoiding the rush. Tavian's running through tackles. They're able to get him down here. And what's frustrating is that's a huge explosive play, and it's still in the game at a place where we're very competitive at this point. And yet then we have, a turnover right after this. And again, you have this deflation thing. So these are some of the things when most of the times he scores right there.
Yeah.
They did a good job. Hats off to them. Their effort was tremendous.
Some run too.
Yeah, and they can run. And they got us down and forced us to play another play. It's one of the things we try and teach as well. Make them play another play. And we weren't able to capitalize. So, you score right here, the game's tied, or you're right there within 7, and, now you're in a war. But
yeah, and so many of our games, I think you can point to just 2 or 3 plays where you say, if that goes different, boy, then everything winds up different.
Correct.
But sometimes there's a method to the madness in terms of, I would rather learn to deal with that in a game that, I know it matters to you, Coach, but now we're 0-0 again.
Right.
I mean, that's the reality of the situation, is that everything that has happened up till now in the season doesn't matter except what you've taken from it and go and apply. All that's right in front of you.
It is the truth. It is the truth. And, would we like to be 5-0? Sure, we'd all like that. We're not. We're 1-4. And right now, we've got to set that behind. Think of it as we just made it through the Buckeye Maker, and here we go. This is what matters, what takes place the next 5 weeks. And so in that sense, we're 0-0. We're working for this Pittsburgh week. Pittsburgh always plays us hard, no matter really who's good or whatever each year, it's always a great game. And so they're coming in. They've had some success this year. And so they're gonna come in thinking, positively. We've got to go take that hope away from them.
Yeah, and lots of cousins, lots of relationships. It's only 15 miles up the road, and lots of good athletes out here in these woods. And they've always had their share of good athletes. Right. I know that given where we are, we're certainly not taking them lightly or their past against us, meaning anything with new staff and new approach, new offense.
Coach Huffstetler's bringing in, trying to create a program. Obviously, he was here, has worked at defensive coordinator at center the past several years and done a really good job, and he's doing a great job there.
Well, we look forward to it, and once again, that now these games do matter as we move into playoffs and the positioning of the playoffs. We've still got this weird type of schedule where you've got some of the best teams in East Texas that inevitably wind up going to the state championship if you look at the last 20 years anyway. Right. You look at there's our district and there's a district just south of us, and those two teams wind up playing each other. So everything now starts to have ramifications in terms of the positioning of how things go in December. Right. And then it's just win in advance, right?
That's it.
So the real stuff starts now for the Buckeye fans. We want to see you out here on Friday night. Pittsburgh is game one. We are 0-0 in district play, 7:30 start, correct?
7. All 7. District games are at 7.
Okay, so we're 7 o'clock from here on in. It starts to get a little darker a little bit earlier, so we don't have so much of the heat, starting to kind of cool things down. We'll be a Jamboree before we know it. But it's October again, and that means the Buckeyes are playing Friday night. So bring your folks, your kin folks, get everybody out here to Jeff Traylor Stadium, and let's show up and be loud and proud for these young Buckeyes as they start their district play and the next phase of the story. Well, we look forward to it, Coach. For myself, Todd Robinson, Alan Metzel, the head coach and athletic director of the Gilmer Buckeyes. We'll see you Friday night. Go Buckeyes.